Eritrea was admitted to the United Nations in May 1993 after persons of Eritrean origin voted in favor of establishing a new state from a portion of Ethiopia. Ethiopia allowed Ethiopians who had also acquired Eritrean nationality to continue to exercise their Ethiopian nationality, while agreeing with Eritrea that these people would have to choose one nationality or the other at some future time. Between 1998 and 2000, there was a border war between Eritrea and Ethiopia. During this time, approximately 66,000 people who had voted in favor of creating a new state still lived within Ethiopian borders. Ethiopia wanted to denationalize and expel those who had voted from the nation, while Eritrea argued it was arbitrary and unlawful to do so. Although international law does not prohibit states from permitting nationals to possess another nationality, it also does not ban states from prohibiting the possession of another nationality.
During wartime, states maintained the ability to denationalize individuals whose second nationality is that of an enemy state. Consequences of denationalization are high, while the standard in international law for what is justified denationalization is low. For denationalization to be just, the international community only requires that the actions are unarbitrary. The case of Eritrea versus Ethiopia brings forward the issue of whether Ethiopia's actions and procedures were unlawful and unarbitrary in the denationalization of Eritrean citizens.
Ethiopia denationalized dual citizens that voted for Eritrean independence. The state claimed that the act of voting in the referendum to create Eritrea established or proved these individuals were Eritrean nationals and could be expelled from the nation. Ethiopia denationalized 6 groups of individuals on the basis that they were a threat to state security. These 6 denationalized groups were 1. Those who the state believed posed a threat to national security. 2. Those who chose to leave Ethiopia during the war to go to Eritrea. 3. Those who remained in Ethiopia. 4. Those who were in third world countries or who left Ethiopia to go to these countries. 5. Those who were in Eritrea. And 6. Those for other reasons. This action was challenged by Eritrea.
Eritrea claimed that those denationalized had never relinquished their Ethiopian nationality and were being unlawfully expelled and denationalized from a nation they had called home for so long. In fact, a bilateral commission found that because these people had voted to create the nation of Eritrea, they were considered dual citizens/nationals, as they had acquired Eritrean nationality by voting in the referendum while maintaining their Ethiopian nationality through the continuous living and receiving of benefits in Ethiopia. Eritrea challenged the action of denationalization by the Ethiopian government. The commission found that of the 6 groups that were denationalized, the first group, given that process of identifying and denationalizing security risks fell short, given wartime circumstances, was not considered arbitrary or contrary to international law. For the second group, the decision to leave one country for another while the two are at war was a serious act that warranted consequences such as denationalization. The third group, no evidence they posed as security threats, no process for identifying individuals that warranted special consideration, and no possibility of review or appeal. This wide-scale deprivation of Ethiopian citizens was considered arbitrary and contrary to international law. Fourth group members were arbitrarily deprived of their Ethiopian citizenship in violation of international law, as there was no evidence that they could be presumed security threats. Fifth group was not arbitrary or otherwise unlawful. There was evident risks and wartime impediments to communication to provide notice of denationalization. The termination of Ethiopian nationality for persons in the sixth group was arbitrary and unlawful, as many or all dual nationals were occasionally rounded up by local authorities and forced to leave for Eritrea under unestablished reasons. Thus, the Commission came to the conclusion that the denationalization of Ethiopian citizens in Eritrea during this time was not considered arbitrary or unlawful. However, those who remained in Ethiopia and fell under the sixth reason for denationalization did have their nationality and citizenship stripped from them arbitrarily and unlawfully. However, had the circumstances been different surrounding the issue of the denationalization process in Ethiopia, the decision made by the Commission may have been different because of the severe consequences to the persons it affected.